Oh my god. So I was originally gonna be live on Twitch, but it was acting funky. So I'm gonna try this. Sorry, I'm kind of like right up close in the camera. I'm trying to rearrange things. Oh jeez. Told you. I can't be trusted. I can't be trusted at all. I wanted to have all this set up properly beforehand, but like I said, had to. Let's see here. Okay. Hi. I am Misty, also known as Kitty Kaiser, and today is the final day before the anime convention Katsucrunch, and I am freaking out. For those that do or do not follow me, or for those that don't follow me on different kinds of social media, I rediscovered my love of the, I guess you could call it older anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I've been doing a lot of things in preparation for Katsucon coming up that are Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. And because of that, as you know from my page, I do, Lolita fashion. And so I am doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired Lolita fashion by my favorite character, Seto Kaiba, because I'm that person. And I am terribly sorry about the really cluttered background right now. I'm actually in my craft room. You've never seen this in my videos before, and it is completely packed in here. Like I said, I actually used to cosplay a whole lot, about 14 years, and so this is the accumulation of 14 years of cosplay. And there's stuff behind the camera that you can't even see. But I figured I might as well do a Twitch, or I was, like I said, thinking about doing Twitch, but since that wasn't quite working right, figured I'll come here instead. So, let's see here. I'm just gonna share these links real fast. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna be up close with the camera real fast. Okay, sorry. I was trying to share the post, and I'm gonna do this one more time, so I'm very sorry. I'm up close and personal with... Ooh, that's not the button I wanted. Wasn't quite sure that's how sharing... I've never done one of these YouTube lives before, so I'm trying to figure out how as I go, so I apologize. And I'm just posting things everywhere because I was originally making plans for Twitch, so again, I apologize. Oh, shoot, that's not what I wanted. camera didn't pull up. Sorry. Sorry, I'm kind of not. Oh, come on. Wait, hold on. Maybe it did post. Discard. Oh, okay. That posted. Cool. Neat. Things are working okay. Okay, I just need to update Instagram. Okay. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Okay, I'm going to slightly reposition this camera so you can kind of see further down what I'm doing, because I am, oops, since I normally do a whole lot of like fashion things on my channel and I haven't actually done a video in quite some time, I figured that since Twitch wasn't working, I might as well do something a little different than what I normally do. So, there we go. That's not bad. So currently what I have on my plate is a whole long list. Oh, Jesus. So what I need to finish doing right now is I've got my Mod Podge, and then I've got this little pin. Got this little pin that I've been, or this I actually made last night on Twitch, but since I'm making a Seto Kaiba inspired outfit for Lolita fashion, I actually made the KC logo, the Kaiba Corp logo that he wears on his lapels. So I made one of these, and it's going to be on my cord, but I need to paint this. So I have my Mod Podge, because this is just regular craft foam. I made a template, and then from this template I actually traced this onto some foam, and so inside the, upside down, inside the KC you'll see the part where I actually traced, and then I made like a little backing for it, and then this whole thing I'm going to be coating in Mod Podge. Kind of one of the reasons why you would want to do this is because when you make anything with craft foam, it's a very porous material, and it will just absorb the paint and it won't really stay on the surface. And so Mod Podge, you don't necessarily have to use Mod Podge. You can use gesso, which is normally what I prefer to use, but my gesso is awfully thick, and I tried to use that last night on Twitch and it did not quite, or not Twitch, sorry, on Facebook. I did a Facebook Live. But it did not hold very well at all, because the gesso that I have is a little bit too thick. So it did not like the foam at all. So we're doing my Mod Podge instead. I don't love to use Mod Podge for sealing foam anymore, mainly just because I just like the texture of gesso, but we're at crunch time, so I gotta do what I gotta do. And I am gonna be, after this has one coat on it, then I'm gonna put another coat and hopefully have 2 coats on this. And I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to be live. My original thought was to be live for like about an hour, maybe 2 hours. But I'm not quite sure. It just kind of depends. Because, like I said, I've never done a live on YouTube before. So I figured I would do it while I'm here, or while this is kind of a unique situation. And so I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I was, sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. I had cosplayed for quite some time. I actually, when I first got into Lolita, I had been cosplaying before then. And so I technically have been in the cosplay communities for longer than I've been in the Lolita fashion communities. And it was probably about 2 years ago or so, probably a little bit more than that, that I decided to take a break from cosplay because it just wasn't quite my thing anymore. And it was just getting really, really stressful and overwhelming. So for this guy that I was painting, he's got his first coat down, so I'm putting him aside for now, so I don't cause any issues. But so took a break from cosplay. I love crafting, as you can see, like my craft room is full. I love crafting. I love doing artistic things, but it just wasn't quite what I wanted anymore for cosplay. So it's whatever, like, and then over the past year, as like anime themed Lolita outfits have become a lot more popular, and like people have been incorporating a lot of their like fandom into their outfits. It's been really, really quite interesting seeing that. I'm gonna try to, I just realized how crooked this was, so I'm gonna try to fix this, sorry. So since people have been doing that a whole lot more, I wanted to kind of try my hand at it as well. And my favorite anime, or at least one of my favorite animes, is Yu-Gi-Oh! And oh no. And my favorite character from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually Seto Kaiba. And, oh, Jesus. Hi. Trying to tighten this. So my favorite character is Seto Kaiba. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna go out in a burst of flames, if for some reason, like, I get kicked out of the Lolita community for doing this, then might as well do it for the character that I absolutely love. So that's where I got to for my Seto Kaiba inspired colored. I originally was just gonna do one outfit for him, and I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna be doing more Lolita, like traditional Lolita, where it's a like a jumper skirt and that kind of thing, or if I was gonna do boy style, which is like a tandem, not tandem, but it's a kind of goes hand in hand with Lolita fashion. So I didn't know which one I was gonna do, and I ended up doing boy style for Seto, and he's gonna be Saturday. And then I was like, what? You know what? I might as well just totally kill myself and do a Seto Kaiba inspired outfit every single day of Katsucrunch. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're all going to be varying degrees of Seto Kaiba inspired, because might as well. Katsucon only comes once a year. I don't wear white normally. My craft room is white for the most part, because like that way I can see what I'm doing better, but like personally I don't really wear white. So I gotta buy a whole lot of things, and it was really fun buying things. But so that's kind of where my history with cosplay and like my familiarity with cosplay came in. So for doing this actual like coordinate of doing all these kind of like really kind of intricate portions of the coordinate, I was like, oh, I can do this. I know how to do this. Like, no problem. I got it. So that's also why making this little pin for the Kaiba Corp logo, I was like, oh, that's not a problem. Like, I can make that. Like, I got this. I have all the supplies to make this. Whatever. And then the character for Seto, he actually has, one of his outfits, he has in the series, they don't call the cards Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they call them Duel Monsters cards. And so he's got a necklace that's a Duel Monster card. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll make that. And I actually made it double-sided with 2 different gems in the center so that I could wear it with 2 different outfits and not have the same thing. But I actually, one of the gems, or both of the gems, I had put some additional gems on the filigree up top, and this is actually where it's going to attach to a pearl necklace that I have. But the gem that was up here as well as on the other side had another blue gem. Both of them fell off. So I'm going to be reattaching them as well. One part of me is like, oh, yeah, look at you doing all these fandom things. And the other part of me is like, I don't care. And it's quite nice and quite freeing, kind of not caring. Ugh. Sorry, had to get one of my toolkits. Because since I have been in Lolita fashion for so long, there's a lot of like rules and things that you have to follow for certain kinds of aesthetics. And so it's really quite nice, like bringing another one of my passions into the outfit that I'm making. And so like for making Seto, not only do I love Yu-Gi-Oh, but then like I also just love crafting. And so doing both of those things for this outfit has just been absolutely wonderful. And I haven't had this much fun working on a crafting project in a long time. It's been really nice. And I've been having a lot of stress. Been having a lot of stress because I've been having a whole lot of health issues. But it's been really fun. So what I'm doing right now, because I'm, like I said, I'm reaffixing the jewels on the metal filigree up at the very top up here. So in the center, I'm going to put a blue gem, and on the center of this other metal filigree, I'm going to put a blue gem. But I have E6000. Technically, you shouldn't be using this inside without a ventilator, but I live dangerously. So I'm using a dollop of E6000, and I just have it on a paper towel because it's just something easy to throw away. Normally I'd like to use a Q-tip or like a wooden popsicle stick, depending upon what I'm using it for. And so I'm just going to put a dollop of this where I want the gem to go, and I'm going to put tiny little dollop on the gem itself. Give it a few seconds, because for E6000 you do want to let it cure for a little bit before you actually put it. And kind of the reason why I'm putting some E6000 on the gem as well as on the spot where I want it to be is because E6000 actually works better that way. if it has a little bit of time to adhere to each piece, and then you adhere the glue together. You don't necessarily have to do it that way, but it works a little bit better. And so now I'm just setting it in the glue. And using my fingernail to pull off some of the extra. So that was an awfully large dollop. If you hear little pitter patters in the background, that's actually my dog running around in the hallway. Because animals are not allowed in my craft room. Learned that really early on. So, grabbing another blue gem so I can put one on the other side. If this will tell me who's actually here. Does this tell me? It shows me that people are here, but it doesn't show me their names. Probably like if I was on a computer or something it might. But hello, mystery persons. I see that there are humans here. So hello. So I'm just affixing the second jewel. After I get this squared away, hopefully the Mod Podge on that pin will be ready to go for a second layer. Oh, geez. And I actually have, so like when you're working with tiny itty bitty gems, there is this like little wax tool that you can use to like help pick up the gems and to plop them down onto a spot. I have one. I didn't think to bring it out because I was like, I'm just doing 2. I'm not going to need this. Famous last words, of course. Right. Oh, jeez. There. Okay. So now I'm just going to let this dry, but there is, let it focus. There is a little gem up top there, and on the other side, a little gem. I had originally adhered these with just hot glue, and then when it fell off a few, like 30 minutes later it fell off. I was like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I should have used something stronger to adhere it, so that's why I broke out the E6000. I normally only use this for like more intensive projects, and I haven't really had to do that for the things that I'm doing here. I've mostly just been using hot glue. So, not bad. So there's the necklace, and I'm going to be attaching that to a pearl chain, which I have here. I'm going to put this aside. So this guy is done. And then another thing that I'm really excited about is this guy. He doesn't have his heads right now, but this is my Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. One of my really good friends when I used to work at a craft store, she got me this. He wasn't this shade of like really pretty pearlescent like blue white. He was a like anime blue. And so since I knew I was gonna want him for, or well, let me go back a little bit. So I made a staff for my Seto Kaiba Lolita coordinate. Over the past couple of years in Lolita fashion, the staffs and like scepters have been really popular. A lot of different Lolita brands have made scepters, but like people started making like staffs and like really tall staffs. Most of them are really thin and really elegant. And so for this, I was just like, since the character of Seto Kaiba is very like, he's a character and he's very extra. He's like, very dramatic. I was like, what can I do? Oh no, I will make a staff. I'll make a Blue Eyes White Dragon staff. I don't have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I have a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is 3 blue eyes merged together into one single dragon. So I repainted this guy. He's got a whole brand new paint coat. I actually need to seal him, but he's got all kinds of like detailing. I use like 4 different shades in order to make him this like really pretty like pearlescent blue white color. So he's not flat at all. He's got a lot of dimension to him, and I'm really excited. He just looks fabulous. But his heads aren't attached right now because I need to paint the detailings on them. And then after I finish that, then I can seal everything so that he doesn't like flake off his paint job. But one of his heads I have basically finished, and as opposed to this is almost finished. So this one in the back, repainted the eyes blue because the eyes had gotten whited out by the white paint. And then on the head there is the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon like detailing here. And so you might hear my spouse in the background, sorry. But I made the actual insignia on top of his head because it got washed out by the spray paint. And so on this guy I actually made him more noticeable, did his eyes, and a couple other like facial detailing highlights and lowlights on here. So that's what I'm going to be doing on this guy next. Then I've got one more head that needs to get done. So I need to do, got my little tiny paintbrushes and some of my paints. And for the little detailings on his face, like I'm not using anything like amazing. Oh, thanks! I'm really excited to have the staff all done. It's actually sitting outside with one of the final coats, or then it would be here with me. But like I said, he's waiting for his next coat. So I am just going to, don't think I have one. I was looking for a palette for me to dump this paint on. So, and for my staff, I'm actually, because Seto Kaiba as a character is so extra, and he is just so like all about the drama and the pomp and circumstance, I did not want like a tiny staff. I didn't just want like, ooh, here, I've got a little scepter. No, this thing is like about 4 or 5 feet tall. It's pretty big. So it's not a tiny staff. And like I designed the whole thing as well. And so I'm really, really, really excited to have it for con this weekend. And because, like I said, I decided to just have Seto Kaiba inspired Lolita outfits all weekend. Sorry, dropping paint. I was like, well, if I'm going to be making the staff, I might as well make it really cool so that people know. So people know what it is. So I just had a lot of fun painting him and just creating it from scratch. So I'm just getting like a really, really fine tip pointed brush so I can paint his eyes and get that color in. But like since I've been cosplaying for so long and I have so much, like, my craft room is just absolutely positively full. While I was working on this staff and while I was like doing different aspects of it, I was like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need this. And oh, I need to do this. Reaches behind me, pulls that out of a drawer. Here we go. I've got it right here in my craft room. Because I've been doing this for so long, I've acquired all the pieces that I need. Oh. One part of it's like really, really neat that I really didn't have to buy almost anything for this staff. Like, I literally just had to buy the wood dowel that I used for it, the finial for the bottom of it to make it really pretty and decorative, and another can of white spray paint because I didn't actually have any white spray paint. That was really about it. Like, everything else that I have been using for this staff I already had. So like all the other paints that I have, all like the metal paints that I've been using, all of the like antiquing paints, like the rub and buff, all of that I already had, which felt really cool. But then another part of me is like, oh, I have a lot of things. Okay. Might as well use them since I have them, I guess. But what was also like, oh my god, almost caused me to have a heart attack at one point, was that for the staff, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, he actually sits on top of an orb, and the orb glows. And for that to happen, like, there has to be a light source inside of it. And I originally had a different light source, and but it ended up not working out. But it was just kind of funny because, like, as I was getting all the supplies together in my craft room, I was like, oh, pulls out a drawer. I've got this whole drawer full of little tiny LED lights that are on little trigger mechanisms that I had stripped out of some, like, light glow sticks, like really tall foam glow sticks from like a work conference a couple of years ago, and I've just saved them in my craft room. And my spouse was even like, what are you doing with these? And I was like, I don't know, I'll find a place to use them for something at some point. And then I was like, oh, that's right, I have these tiny little lights on a trigger mechanism that I'm just gonna incorporate and use for this stupid glowing orb for this stupid anime boy. Unfortunately, the solder on those lights ended up being really, 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 really bad. And I ended up not being able to use them because they were starting to break. Um, and that's extra unfortunate because I actually know how to fix them. I know how to use a soldering gun, but I don't know where mine is. Like my actual soldering tool, I have no idea where mine is. And I wasn't gonna try to find it at all because I just didn't have time with that in between trying to work on this, working on actual like Katsucrunch things for staffing, and then being sick. I just didn't have time to try to find it. So I was like, whatever. Opens a different drawer, finds more LED lights. These ones will work instead. So even though like it almost broke my heart that I couldn't use the original LED lights that I wanted to because the way that they were designed on a trigger mechanism would have been really cool because then like when I pick up my staff, the trigger would have been like on the side of the staff and I would just click on the trigger and then the lights would start going off in the orb. But whatever. They couldn't use it after all because I have to fix them. But that's okay. The lights that I found are just regular, like battery operated ones that just are going to continuously be on, and I can, the orb on it actually opens because I'm clever like that. So this big plastic orb opens and I can actually go in there and turn the lights off and on if I want to. And it's not too difficult to get in there, which is how I kind of patterned it to not be a headache. So that's at least nice. Not quite what I originally had in mind, but kind of have to adapt as you're doing these things and roll with what you've got, especially when con is coming up so fast. But all I have to do for all I have left to do for my staff, let me pull up my list. I have to do the Mod Podge other layer on the pin, the Kaiba Corp pin that I have. I have to do the silver rub and buff on it. I did the blue gems. Oh, I have to also repaint the blue orb because it got some white paint as I've been painting it because I did a base coat of blue on the orb, but I need to do another coat of blue on the orb. So I need to eventually go outside and grab that orb or that staff base so I can repaint him. And actually, after I finish doing the detail on this blue eyes, and oh no, I got paint. I accidentally touched the blue eye. Ugh, I got paint all over my finger, and then I got blue paint on my poor little dragon. Fiddlesticks. Yeah, that's most of it off. There we go. Ugh. I'm so tired that like I have to be careful with the placement of my hands. Not do that again. Jesus. Ugh, that was terrifying. Time to do more blue eyes. Ugh. But I'm just really happy that like things are coming together so well, and that even though I've had a lot of little hiccups along the way, the biggest hiccup being sick while trying to work on all of this, and like I'm not like cough cough, I've got the flu sick. It's more of just like health problems sick. So even though like I've been having a lot of health problems, I'm still really happy that I've been able to keep up as much as I can, or as I have, because I would have not done as much, and I would not be in the same, have done as, just, I would not have been able to do as much as I am doing right now for this outfit, because I've done a lot for this, and I'm really quite impressed, because it's been years since I've done this level of crafting in such a short amount of time, and been continuously happy and excited with my progress. Like, nothing that I've been working on has been absolutely perfect, and nothing that I've been working on has kind of turned out exactly how I planned. But in some cases, some of the things that I've been working on turned out better than I planned. And that has been lovely. That has been like a very pleasant surprise that I was not banking on at all. 'Cause like, especially this Blue Eyes White Dragon, I had an idea of kind of how it was gonna go in my head, but it's actually been so much better than I originally planned, which is cool. Like, I was not expecting that at all. Like, he actually turned out so much better. I did have a small like learning curve with him, but at the same time, like, it's been great. Like, I've been having quite a lot of fun figuring out all this stuff along the way, and even though I had been cosplaying for such a long time, I am still learning new things, because I haven't done every single kind of cosplaying, and I'm also like, one of my skills was never really sewing. Like, I've known how to sew for 23 years or so. Like, I've been sewing for a long time. Sewing is not my strong suit, though. Like, that's not where my passion is. Like, I can sew. I hate it, though. Like, I don't like to sew, but I can do it if I need to. And that's kind of also one of the reasons why I got out of cosplay, was that, like, it was just so disheartening, because at the time that I was in cosplay, and like actively in cosplay, it was really, really hard to buy certain kinds of fabrics, or it was really hard to buy cosplays. And it was like severely looked down upon, versus now, like, people altering like things that they bought at the store, or like just purely buying their cosplays. Like, the stigma is different now. It's still kind of bad, unfortunately. Like, it just, but it's, people are standing up for themselves and for like what they want to do and how they want to cosplay, and that's great. And it makes me so happy, because that wasn't quite the norm when I got into cosplay. You either made it yourself, or you spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars commissioning somebody else to make it for you. Like, there wasn't really the market to buy something prefabricated. Like, that wasn't really the thing. And so it's really quite refreshing, and really quite cool just seeing how the spectrum of cosplay it has been over the past couple of years. I'm sorry, I have a milkshake. I'm really excited about my milkshake. It is a peanut butter and chocolate milkshake, and it's really, really tasty, and I deserve this. I am lactose intolerant, but that is okay, because I have pills for that. Sorry. Got a very, very slight brain freeze. Ooh. Ah, okay. Very, very slight brain freeze. Oh, it's okay. Make it work. Okay. Cool. So my KC logo that I was working on is a decent amount of dry. So I'm going to work on putting another layer of sealer on it. Yeah. Put another layer of Mod Podge on it. So one kind of interesting side effect that I didn't realize was going to come from like doing a lot of live streams while I've been crafting is that it helps me stay on task. Like even though I'm talking to people on the internet and like not 100% concentrating on what I'm doing, it's at least keeping me continuously doing something and like continuously working on something, even though I'm not like as focused as I could be. But it's more of like I'm like 80% concentrating for like 2 hours straight versus like 100% concentrating for like 30 minutes, and then I get distracted and do something else, and then I end up not doing quite a lot. And then it's 5 hours later and I've read 5 fan fictions and I'm like, oh, oops, I should have been painting something, I should have been sewing something, I should have been doing something else, but instead I did not work on what I was supposed to be working on. Whoops. So that's been a happy surprise. Alright. Layer 2. Let that set for another 30 minutes or so. Oh, I'm so excited that things are starting to come together. Oh, jeez. No, I got glue on my iPad. Just a little bit of glue, not like a whole lot of glue. That was slightly alarming. Alright, let's see here. Where's my list? Paint head detail. That's what I need to do next. So I need to find my second tiniest brush so I can paint this head detail. So I'm kind of cold. My craft room is on the back end of the house. And, oh god, fudging rough. Just stuck my finger in the blue eye again, and so I got blue on not one, but 2 fingers. Ugh, goodness gracious. I think I'm just gonna let this finish curing before I do anything else with it, because I'm a menace to myself, which I knew, but it's still obnoxious. Oh my god. I'm a menace to myself. But yeah, kind of what I was saying, my craft room is in the back side of the house, and so like it's either comfortable or it's freezing cold. And I'm getting to the cold part right now because it's starting to get really cold outside. And because I'm doing such like a really tiny fine detail on top of this dragon's head, being cold is not the optimal option, because then I'm shaking. Sorry, I'm trying to do a tiny little line, and so I'm concentrating on that. I don't want to ruin it. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, because I don't want to be a menace to myself anymore and keep touching it, because that's all I need is to do a third time and just mess everything up. So I'm gonna leave that by itself, and since, let's see, pull out, what else do I need to do on my so one thing that I have on my to-do list that I personally am not doing, that I've actually conned my spouse into doing, is rebuilding my Kitty Kaiser website. So Kitty Kaiser is what I use for everything. For every social media thing, almost any kind of fun account that's not like taxes or health, I use Kitty Kaiser, because Kitty Kaiser has been around as my pen name or like internet handle for 16 years, I think it was what I calculated earlier. And so I have a web domain of kittykaiser.com. And my spouse had been basically coding from scratch the website, because they were taking, I can't remember what kind of coding in grad school, and so they were like, oh yeah, I can, I'm gonna try my hand at this. But then they underestimated how much that would be to code a website, and I actually have I used to have quite a bit of familiarity with coding HTML, because when I grew, again, since I've been cosplaying for so long, and from like MySpace and that kind of thing, that if you wanted to have like a custom site, or if you wanted to have like a custom web page or a custom anything, you had to know how to code it yourself, or know how to edit code. And so I used to know how to do quite a bit in HTML. Not that much anymore, because it's a skill that I haven't quite just kept up with. So when they were like, oh yeah, I can code this all by myself, I'm like, yeah, you have fun. I'm not, no. That is not for me. So we ended up actually using a website called Squarespace to rebuild my website, because we still have owned the domain of kittykaiser.com, but it currently isn't tied to anything. But we're rebuilding my website right now, and it should be up hopefully late Thursday night, but we'll see about that. But I had originally wanted to order new business cards, like cosplay Lolita business cards, but I didn't have enough time to do so, so I'm just using some of my old business cards. But on here it doesn't actually have my website. It has my YouTube, it has Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, Gmail, and Facebook, but it doesn't have my actual website on here. So I printed out stickers, and that's good. The stickers have kittykaiser.com on them. So this whole long story of coding and of websites was just to let you know that I am, since I'm cold, my hands are shaking, and I'm waiting for things to dry, I am just going to be plopping this on the back of my business cards that I currently have, because that is the smart thing to do. And by smart thing, I mean just like, it's a thing that I need to do. And like I said, I do have new business cards that I'm going to be making, but it was just an extra thing that I didn't have to have done before Katsucon. I wanted them to be done before Katsucon, but it wasn't required. So it's a whatever thing. So I already had sticker paper. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just print these off then. It's not that huge of a deal or a big inconvenience. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see. After these, what do I have after these that I can do really fast? Oh, I have on my list Dual Monsters business card holder. So I actually, the first time I went to Japan was for our honeymoon. And I've loved Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever, practically. And so when we went to Japan, I already loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was actually during the, can't remember what celebration it was then, but there was quite a few like Yu-Gi-Oh! Things around while we were in Japan, and so I got some limited edition trading card sleeves, and I'm actually going to use those trading card sleeves, even though they're meant for the actual trading card game itself. I'm going to use those as a business card holder because that's on brand, right? For Seto Kaiba. Like, it makes sense. So I'm gonna dig up one of those, and if these business cards should fit without a problem, but if for some reason I have issues, then I'm just gonna pull apart two of the card sleeves in order to make a card holder. Stickers everywhere. I need to find batteries as well. While I was at work today, I made a long list of things that I need to get done and that I need to pack, and it made me more overwhelmed because I had a certain idea in my head of where I was going and what I was doing and how much I had left, and putting it to paper actually made my stress level much higher. It made my anxiety much worse. So, but now that I'm going through everything and I'm actually like looking at my list and crossing things off my list, it doesn't feel quite as scary as it originally was, because I have been able, a lot of the things on my list are kind of small things that don't take very long to do, but they still have to be done before the convention happens. So that at the very least has been pretty nice, that I've been able to get some things done, even though I haven't gotten everything that I want done. But do what you can, as long as you are happy. That's all that really matters. But I need to pack. I keep forgetting that I need to pack, and that's always it will hit me, and I'm like, oh God, because I've been going to conventions for what, no, not 16 years. Has it been 16 years? 12? Well, about 15 years, I think. I've been going to conventions for about 15 years, almost 16 years. Oh God. And just packing is always the last thing that I remember to do, and I have yet to have an anime convention that I've gone to where I remember everything that I need. I will always forget something, and it'll always be something. Well, luckily, over the past, like, 5-7 years, it's normally something a little bit inconvenient, but it's not a huge thing that I've forgotten. It was, oh no, it was probably like 6 years ago where I forgot to, I was supposed to sew a zipper in to my cosplay at the con, but I actually forgot the zipper. So it was a combination of stitching Misty into the cosplay. So one of my friends was kind enough to sew me into my cosplay. Hot glue me into my cosplay. There were certain parts of it that were just hot glued onto the fabric while I was wearing it. So one friend did a combination of hand sew me into the cosplay, and then we used safety pins for the last little bit so that I could get out of it. And then the other friend was hot gluing the accoutrements to my cosplay in certain locations while I was wearing it. While my friend was sewing me into it. That was fun. That was like 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, like about 6.5 years ago. Oh, Jesus. It wasn't Katsucrunch. It was a con right before Katsucrunch, but I ended up wearing that cosplay to Katsucrunch later, and I was under the impression that I had finished it. And then I was packing things up to go to Katsucrunch, and then I realized that it wasn't finished, and I was like, oh, well, I guess this is gonna be a similar situation where I have to be safety pinned into my cosplay. And now that I'm thinking about it, I actually don't think that cosplay has a zipper to this day. Oh. Misty sometimes makes bad decisions, but that is okay, because it's part of my charm, I guess? I don't know. I'm actually almost done with these business cards, and I'm really excited. I'm probably not going to need this large stack. Like, I have a huge box of them because I got them for super, super cheap. So I'm probably not going to need, like, this huge stack. This is probably close to around, like, 30, maybe 40 business cards. I'm probably not going to quite need that much, because a lot of the people that I am meeting up with or that I'm seeing at con will already have my contact information or my, like, different things, but whatever. It's still good for me to have it just in case, because since I am doing 3 panels this year, I always like to have business cards at my panels so that people can find me afterwards, because panels, if you've never actually made and presented a panel at a con, they are nerve-wracking, yes, but they're also like a whirlwind, and I have yet to give a panel where I felt that I had enough time. I always feel like I don't have enough time when I am presenting a panel, and I can talk forever, and I'm going through my slides, and I do my best to make sure I have enough time for questions at the end, but I always feel like I'm running out of time. I'm just quickly running out of time. And so because of that, I try to make sure that at the beginning of my panel as well as at the end, I'm able to pass out my contact information. Normally in the panel itself, I try to have like my my website or my like my email or my like my Instagram or my Tumblr or whatever, so that people can see them and so they can easily get a hold of something. But if I don't have something where they can possibly get a hold of me later, I normally feel bad, as well as I feel like it's a misconnection. That, like, this might have been a really cool person to get to know later, but because of the time constraints of an anime convention, as well as the time constraints of giving a presentation, you never really get the opportunity to just be like sitting down and have like a one-on-one conversation with everyone who shows up to your panel. And so that's sometimes nice to just be like, here's my business card. Please contact me later. As well as it just feels cool, like, hey, here's my business card. Here's my website. But, so even though, like, I'm putting my website on the back of my business card, like, it's really whatever. It's just additional, it's just like an extra layer of just making sure that they know that they have multiple ways of contacting me. Like, I'm mostly using my my website for my panels, so people know where to go to contact me. And then on my website, it has all my other contact information. So if they only get one thing, they can at least get my website, and then from there they can find me other places. So putting it on, since like the business card itself has all the other contact information on the front, if they're flipping to the back of it, or they see the back of it, they'll at least see kittykaiser.com on the back of it. So if they can't get this information from the front, they'll at least see it on the back. So it's kind of, like I said, just an additional layer of security. Normally, I would like to have a photo on the back of the card so that they can, like, just an extra layer of somebody remembers who you are. But those business cards didn't make it here in time, and I didn't have time to order them and to finish designing them, so that's whatever. That's one thing that would have been nice to have for con, but not necessary because I've got a huge box of leftover business cards. Oh, jeez. Because, like, there was, when I first ordered this box of business cards, they were, like, super cheap on Vistaprint. And then there was a slight printing error with, like, maybe 20, no, not even 20 of them, of, like, maybe 5 or 10 of them. And I'd gotten, like, I think it was either 100 or 150 count for, like, $10. And so when I contacted Vistaprint and was like, hey, there's a printing error on a couple of these cards, would I be able to get, like, a slight refund, or would I be able to, you know, get some sort of compensation for, or like a coupon or something for these these cards that had a printing mistake on them? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a 50% off, so we're gonna refund you 50%, as well as we're gonna send you a new box of business cards. And I was like, oh, okay, you didn't have to do that, but okay. So I ended up with, like, way too many business cards, and so I've just had them over the years, and I haven't really used all of them because I don't need all of them. I don't need this many business cards, but I have them. So because I had them, and because my new business cards weren't able to get here in time, I was like, whatever, I'll just be slightly ghetto and use stickers and put my new website, or put my website on the back. It's really whatever. Like, I don't really care. I've also had multiple different versions of my business cards over the years. Like, business cards for cosplayers became popular 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago. And so at that time, I didn't have the money or the resources to buy business cards, as well as, like, that was kind of a, like, only big name cosplayers had business cards. You could make, like, little slips of paper that had your contact information on it, and that was perfectly serviceable. But then as printing services have become significantly cheaper, and there's a lot of websites that do online printing, business cards have become so easy to just acquire, and to, like, oh, here's 10 bucks, here's 15 bucks, and now I have a stack of business cards that look really neat. So, like, I actually, while I was cleaning off my desk a couple of days ago, I actually found one rendition of my business cards. This was probably from, like, about 3 years ago. So these I actually just printed off on my printer, and then I had pretty cardstock on the back. Like, you might not even be able to see it. It's like a really pretty iridescent design on the back. But that was literally all. Like, I just printed off information on the front and then put really thick cardstock on the back. And, like, they felt nice. They didn't look amazing, but they got the job done. And, like, I used to have, I probably might have some over here still. Maybe. I used to have, like, there's one website called Moo, and they used to have, or maybe they still do, I don't know, a design. No, I don't have them over here. I probably threw them away. But, like, really thin business cards and really tiny business cards. And those used to be really, really popular. Not a lot of people use the Moo size business cards anymore, and Moo is kind of switched to a more, like, square, boxy one. So, like, if you take a business card and you literally cut it in half, like, the half size that way, like a little square, is what Moo does now, rather than, like, the long, skinny business cards. But they probably might still sell the long ones. I have no idea. But those long, skinny ones used to be super, super popular in the cosplay community. Because those were, you would get a whole lot of business cards for super, super cheap. But then, like I said, since printing has just become so much cheaper over the years, just for business cards in general, then a lot of people have just kind of stuck with the standard business card size. They'll play with, like, cardstock and finishes and, like, foils on the cards, and just make them more unique that way rather than size-wise unique. And I have so many of these stickers. I didn't realize how many of these stickers I had, and I think I've already hit the capacity of how many business cards I should theoretically take with me to con. Like, I don't think I need this many business cards. It's been really rare if I've ever used this many business cards, but yet here I am. I'm probably going to finish off this page. Some of these labels printed weird, and so I can't use all of them on a single sheet, but that's okay, because there's actually way more than I thought that I was gonna use anyway. So after, let's see here, after I finish these stickers, I think after I finish these labels, I am going to sign off, because I need to go grab my staff from outside, and that's going to take me quite a few minutes to grab it because I need to put another coat of white on him before I fully bring him inside. But I still have one more sheet of stickers. Let's see here. Check my list. Oh man, I still have so much packing that I have to do. I'm not looking forward to the amount of packing that I have to do at all. Luckily, for this year of Katsucrunch, I'm not bringing quite as much for other people as I used to. Like, over the past couple of years, I've been, like, bringing backup things for people, or, like, I didn't plan my outfits quite as well, and so I've had to bring more accessories or more shoes because I didn't make my final choice until at the convention. But this year I have a lot firmer idea of kind of going in, what I'm wearing, and kind of just what's going on, which is nice. But I'm still overwhelmed by the packing process because there's still going to be a lot of packing that needs to get done. And I want to try to get a large portion of it done tonight. Okay. I think this is probably more than enough business cards. I think that's enough. And I still have another huge box of business cards. Like, I have a lot of business cards because they sent me so many and I don't need all of them, and yet here I am. Hold on, I was gonna count them. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12. 48 times 2. Okay, so I have about 100 business cards right here that I have put stickers on. I think that's probably enough. I only ever really use about 60 business cards at a convention, and when I used to go to a lot of conventions a year, like when I first got into cosplay, or when I was in college, I would actually go to about like 5 or 6 conventions a year, plus doing college work. I still have no idea how I did that. Like, I really have no idea how I survived. But I normally use about 20 business cards a day at a convention, and then, well, actually, yeah, I might need 100. Here I go, stickering more business cards, because I might actually need them. Ugh. So I have to do some packing tonight. I need to finish the detailing on the Blue Eyes head. I need to do another coat of the Mod Podge on my Kybercorp pin. And then, let's see here. Oh, that's right. There's a couple of things that I actually have to buy at the convention on Friday morning for my outfits. And I'm kind of it's kind of funny that I'm buying things for my outfits there, but it's just so happened that the designers that I wanted, some of the things that I wanted from certain designers, and they're going to be at the convention itself. So I was like, no sense of shipping it to me when I know that they're going to be there and I know they're going to have the thing that I'm looking for. so I'm just gonna buy it from them there. But there's certain things that I have to pick up on Friday morning of the convention. I only have a few more left. Alright, I'm just going to do this next little stack. Alright, well, I am basically done. So, and it has been about an hour and almost an hour and a half. So, that sounds good. I need to take a break because I need to go get my staff from outside. So, it was nice hanging out with you guys today. There weren't a whole lot of people on the stream, but that is perfectly okay. I got a lot of things done. I probably am going to be having a con roundup video for Katsucrunch sometime in February, not quite sure when, and then in March, at the end of March, my spouse and I are actually going to Japan again, so there's going to be a lot of Japan videos. I'm really, really excited to edit those, but that's going to be not now, that's going to be soon. So this is Misty, this is Kitty Kaiser, and I hope you had a good day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. I can't end this. How do I end this?